other racial groups. Now, exposure to toxins like secondhand smoke can also cause unhealthy inflammation. And last, but certainly not least, is the diet. If you have a diet that's high in inflammatory foods, then you could have some unhealthy inflammation. So we're going to be talking about what foods are inflammatory and what foods are anti-inflammatory, and how you can counter them. So foods like vegetable oils, partially hydrogenated oils, margarine and vegetable shortening can all be inflammatory. And as I've said, mushrooms are among those that are not or anti-inflammatory. In fact, mushrooms can be used if you're trying to have more of a vegetarian side to your diet. They are very good substitutes for meat because they have the kind of consistency that meat has. Now, the other aspect of this is, of course, for many people, we were entertaining children during Christmas, and we know that sugar can cause a variety of negative effects on children, including, of course, behaviorally. I think it's talked about a lot that kids who eat a lot of sugar get very energetic and are bouncing off the walls. Actually, there's not a lot of research to support that, but there is more research to support the idea that sugar affects blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and so on. And there was a research project in San Francisco, at the University of California, San Francisco, in which they investigated cutting sugar intake in children from 28% of daily calories to 10% of the daily calories. And these children were all African American or Hispanic, between the ages of 8 and 18. They were obese and considered at high risk for diabetes. So what these scientists did, they replaced the sweetened foods that they had been eating. These were foods such as pastries and flavored yogurts and other food that contains sugar, and they replaced it with non-sweet, starchy carbohydrates like baked potato chips, or bagels, or turkey hot dogs or hamburgers, so that they were getting the same amount of calories, but a less amount of sugar. So interestingly, they arranged this diet. They weren't giving them healthy food at all. As the doctor said, his team deliberately didn't give the kids healthy foods to substitute for the missing sweets. We gave them crappy food, processed food, and they still got better. Imagine how much better they would have gotten if we didn't substitute and took the sugar out. They would have gotten even better. So the results were that there were dramatic differences in blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and blood sugar, and other signs of metabolic syndrome, a condition that increases the risk of diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. So after 9 days with less sugar, the kids' LDL, the bad cholesterol, had dropped by 10 points, and their diastolic blood pressure, that's the number on the bottom, that fell by 5 points, and their triglycerides declined by 33 points. And the kids' blood sugar and insulin levels also improved. So there's some flaws in the research. For instance, they didn't use a control group and other things, but just the fact that such dramatic changes occurred does suggest that, if you can keep the kids away from sugar, and it also shows that you can give kids other things that don't have the sugar in them, that might not be good, but it'll be something they'll eat, as opposed to healthy vegetables that they might not be interested in. Now you can give them things like turkey dogs and potato chips, because they don't have the amount of sugar, and you can be reducing the sugar intake. There's a lot of evidence that shows that it's not fat that causes obesity in kids or anybody else, but that it's actually sugar. For years, everybody's talked about fat, so we have a lot of low-fat products and things like that. But apparently, it's not the fat as much as it is the sugar. That's why one of the big things to stay away from, according to most researchers, is the sugars that are put into a lot of baked goods and other things. High fructose corn syrup, that appears to be really detrimental to health. So that is the show. I hope you've learned a lot about mushrooms and about your health as well. And I encourage you to stay healthy and enjoy these upcoming holidays. See you next week.